Hey guys, Coach Justin, Coach Jack. Today we're going to be talking to you about some handstand variations that you might see. Some of those might be the inverted burpee into a handstand hold. Some might be a press into a handstand. The reality with the handstands that a lot of people mess up is they don't understand how to stand before they walk or before they run, right? If you think about like a baby learning how to stand, right, they would grab onto like a couch and then it would just kind of like pump their legs and stabilize a little bit. It kind of looks goofy when you see a baby do it, but they're building strength and stability in that area. So I like to think about the wrists as kind of like your ankles, right? And the heel of your palm being like the heel of your foot. So what happens if I lean back too far in my heels? Well, I would fall backwards, right? And if I lean too far on my toes, my finger toes here, then I would begin to go forward and I would be running or falling onto my face. So we need to find balance about the ankle. And this is our ankle here. Another thing that we like to think about when we're squatting, deadlifting, whatever, we want to kind of create an arch and kind of pull that ground apart. It's going to be the same thing with our hands. So we need to kind of create a little bit of an arch there. And then the last thing I like to talk to athletes about is the hand positioning. You'll see athletes do this a lot when they're handstand walking. I like to think about the thumbs kind of like the big toe. We wouldn't walk around like this, right? We wouldn't walk around like that. So we probably walk around more like this. That would be a good position. So I like to turn those out just ever so slightly so that our big toe is kind of facing forward here, if that makes sense. We're going to spread it out, we're going to create an arch, and then we're going to have stable shoulders. Now you see people talking about squeezing your butt or pointing your toes. All those things are great because we do want a pretty gymnastics position, but the reality is, like, we can actually walk around on our hands with a disengaged midline. Not really recommended or pretty, but all the balance is coming from the ankles, right? I can walk down the street like this. It looks ridiculous. I can also walk down the street like this. Also looks pretty ridiculous. And we see people do that on our hands. So in reality, we need to work on engaging the midline and learning how to walk appropriately before we run. And that's where legs go to flailing, right? We can't learn how to take off sprinting or running if we don't know how to walk first. So first we would want to control all that. And that's really what I think a lot of coaches are getting after, is learning how to be stable on your hands, on your wrists before we take off. So Jack's just going to kick up. We're really going to focus on his wrists here and creating that stable platform and that stable base. You might see some movement, but really pay attention to his wrists. And we're going to see if we can get some better hands. Just a regular handstand. Find that balance. There you go. And you'll see right here. Yep. Good. Find that balance. Good. Relax. So if you notice with his hands, he was gripping and he was moving a little bit here. When he started to come back, he put too much weight into his heels. So that little bit of correction towards the fingertips will help. Now here's the problem where athletes kind of get into a sticky place, right? Is if they're overcorrecting, then they're going to go forward. A lot of times you'll see athletes kick up into a handstand and they cartwheel out of it. Well, that's because they're not creating that arch and they're not externally rotating and creating a stacked and stable platform. If they're not in that place and they just kick up and their palms are flat, as soon as they go to take a step, they're going to collapse. It would be the same thing if I was walking around flat-footed and I was just collapsing in like this the entire time. I would have to have an arch to be able to walk and then run. Cool? If you guys give that a shot, let us know what you think.